Good evening, CAN TV viewers. Thank you for tuning in. You are tuning in to the Doty Report on Comprehensive Health. We are back. Yes, we are back. We've been gone for 3 months, but we are back. We will be here live every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. now until the end of June. My name is Yolanda Givens, and I am your host. The Doty Report is part of the Georgia Doty Comprehensive Health platform to bring to you, the viewers, information about healthcare, resources, community resources, and helping you make connections. The overall mission is really to bridge the gap for some of the health disparities throughout our community, as well as just being an advocate. So any resource that we have, any information that we have, we are here to share it with you. As you know, I always like to give a shout out to the founder and CEO of the Georgia Doty Comprehensive Health Organization, Mr. Don Doty. I say hi to him and his wife, Miss Joyce. So we're excited to be back. You know that we are welcome and we encourage you to call in to ask any questions, make any comments. I'm excited because tonight we're going to be talking about housing. And what's the connection between housing and health? A lot. A lot. We definitely know the importance of having stable housing. We know housing situations, whether you're renting or buying, have a mortgage, or whatever the case may be, could be stressful, especially if you are not educated on your rights, educated on resources, and really not tapping into some of the services that we know are often offered in our community. So we are excited. I'm excited to have sitting next to me this beautiful lady, Miss Mary Jones, who is the founder and executive director of Acora. Am I saying it right? Acora Community Services. She has been in the housing and community organizing business for 35 plus years. So she is going to educate us and share with us some information. She is also on the board of the Georgia Doty organization. So we are very, very excited to have her. Again, feel free to call in with any questions, any feedback. We are talking about housing today, and which is very, very important to living a healthy lifestyle. So I'm gonna start off. I'm first gonna just tell us a little bit about yourself before I go to the first question.
Well, it is an honor to be here on the Georgia Doty show, and I really do believe that what you touched on was perfect. It was about health, and that home is the center of health.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I'm just honored to be here. Thank you.
Good. We're gonna get right to it. You know, because time go by fast. And we want to make sure that we're able to provide as much information as possible. So I see that your mission is about stable communities through financial capacity awareness. So this really goes beyond just the housing piece, but that is definitely an important piece. So my first question to you is, how can we work together to help our community prosper?
That's a great question. Well, with communities, what we have found is that there's no prosperity, growth, and it's because mainly we're not talking to each other.
Right.
We do not come out the door and wave hello to the neighbor. We don't even know who our neighbor is.
That is so true.
So then when we see that our investment in our home has dropped, what are we doing to turn it around?
Okay.
We don't know what to do to turn it around.
Right.
And you have to know that, and then you have to talk to each other in order for it to really work.
Right.
So the main issue that we see in our communities is that we're not going anywhere. We're fixing things temporarily, and we're ending up right back in the same spot. So housing, no one really understands what housing counseling is.
Okay.
So we got to change the name. Agora changed it to Housing Advisors.
Okay.
I kind of believe that it's a better name simply because you make the choices, but we believe that we should be able to give a homeowner or a renter or someone that wants to one day keep a roof over their heads themselves when they leave home, we want to be able to give them the 1, 2, 3, and it be more of a practical application.
Right.
So that they can see, soon as they see it written down and formulated, how they can actually do it.
Right.
Then they'll stick with it.
Right, right. It definitely needs to be practical. I think that is definitely a challenge, is that oftentimes, even, you get approved, by a lender, and you buy a home and you just know, yay, I'm a homeowner, but no one really tells you or help you understand some of the language, some of the definitions and what principal and taxes and all that stuff really is going to mean to you, not just in the immediate, but, long term.
Life happens.
Yes, life definitely happens. So what type of information do you believe is missing in our communities that contribute to this instability?
Well, there are a few factors, but most of it goes right back to, again, communication, but not having the flow of information. When some communities get the information, it's either too late or they don't get it at all. If the information about, let's say, what can a homeowner do if they have to retire early? What do I do? Well, usually they go to their job and they usually don't even ask them either, right? But they're trying to figure it out. Well, that's where the flow of information has come to a halt. They do not know who to go to. To find out, okay, this is a change. Life has happened. What do I do? I'm getting married. I have a home. I have a building already. I'm getting married. What do I do with the building I have? How do I structure it so it doesn't come back to haunt me or mess up what my future goals are? So one is the flow of information, and the other is the ability to take care of an investment, not just to purchase it, but how do you keep it? So they don't have the education or the understanding of, like you said earlier, when they close on a home, it really has just begun. They then are charged with, what do I do if something were to happen? Is my home going to be the first thing that goes? So, or what decisions am I going to make after I buy that home? That's going to jeopardize my home. So we believe that the thing that's missing are those two things. If you have information and that information actually gets into the community, then we are going to be pretty much able now to do the third thing. Know what our financial capacity is.
Absolutely.
We don't know, not only do we not know our financial capacity, before you can even know what your net worth is, you have to know what your financial capacity is. So financial capacity, what is it? Well, I kind of roll that in with affordable housing. Well, there's two sides to affordable housing. One side is, yes, there should be units that are available in every community based on the average income of that community. There should be housing that is affordable for that particular income range. But the other part of affordable housing that is never talked about is our personal responsibilities for making sure that...
Hold on a second. So we have a caller. Okay, caller, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you have a question or a comment?
Yeah, I'd like to know, I noticed that a lot of property on Lakeshore Drive, a lot of parents who pass away and leave it to their next of kin or their children, I find that the children are not educated on how to maintain and keep the property, and a lot of property is being taken over by the bank. Is there a program for that kind of education?
Thank you, caller, for that question. And yes, we are talking about the inheritance. What are we leaving to our children? We cannot just leave a building or a structure or a business. We have to leave the fundamental understanding of how to keep that business and keep that property after they get it. So what's not happening is that information that the parents don't have cannot flow to the children if they don't have it. So there are programs, and it's right back with financial capacity. We start financial capacity with 15-year-olds and up. Because they need to know how to start dealing with their monies right then and there. They need to know how to save a percentage of that newspaper route money. Newspaper? Do they still have newspaper route money?
But they should.
Well, some sort of employment that they have at 15, 16, those summer jobs.
Yeah, absolutely.
They should start then. And if they start then, now that coupled with what they're learning in the financial capacity education with housing counseling will enable them to be able to leave home right.
Right.
And know that they're going to be able to not get an apartment above their heads,
Okay.
above their ability to meet that income, and meet that expenditure, and also making sure they have the ability to save.
Right.
If you don't save when you get in an apartment or a home, you're stuck. You're stuck there. You can't go anywhere because you can't save. You can't rise up because you can't save. You actually have to make more money in order for you to leave from that position on to the next.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. That's one of the things I'm teaching my son while he's finishing up college is to save. So what services does your organization provide? How can you help? Or how are you helping?
There are services. We have 5 areas that are focused that we focus on, and that's the home buyer, the homeowner, rental,
Okay.
those that are homeless,
Okay.
and those that are in their homes that are just simply struggling.
Okay.
So homeowners that are struggling, there are programs out here with the state of Illinois, and one of them is ending April 30th. That is a very crucial thing because even if you are laid off from your job, you're able to have up to 12 months of your mortgage paid.
Oh, wow.
I said principal, interest, taxes, and insurance.
Oh, wow.
Up to $35,000 or 12 months, whichever one comes first. But the point is, that gives you up to 12 months to find that
Get
job.
yourself together. Right.
Increase that income.
Right.
We're asking people to not retire without getting housing counseling.
Right.
Because some people think when they retire that they're going to have to, that they're going to have money there. Well, a lot of times it takes months before you get that first check.
Right.
And it's never nearly monthly what you were making.
Right.
So
Right.
again, we do counseling for those that are struggling with their mortgage, those that we do reverse mortgage counseling because that's a big one too. There's a lot of our elders that are actually having to leave their homes. If anyone has a reverse mortgage, now is the time to talk to a housing counselor so that we can review what you have, so that you can prepare to make sure that you're not going to have to leave your home if your spouse passed.
Right.
Or,
Right.
you know, if that happens, you want to be prepared with what can make sure you're going to stay in that home.
Right,
So renters, we want renters to be able to prepare now for home ownership. You don't have to buy. I'm not going to make you buy a home. You ain't got to buy no home. But I want you ready when you do decide to. So when you decide to buy that home, you're already on a path to
Okay.
home ownership. You're already doing the things that make sure you can.
Right.
So homelessness, there are a lot of people in shelters that just need a beginning. They just need a start. They just need to know what is step one. So when they find out what step one, most of them are working.
Right.
Working and living out of their car because they don't have the credit. No one will rent to them because they don't have the credit. So they are now wondering, how am I going to do this? And I'm in a shelter. Well, we go into shelters and we talk to them and we let them know what step one is.
Okay, what is step one? 'Cause that
Step
one is a big one.
Is seeking information that's relative to your situation because everyone is different.
Okay.
So we take it very personal with our advising because everyone's different. We're everyone at different stages. But no matter what stage you're at, you're still able to get a home and have a roof over your head.
Okay.
Everyone deserves that.
Right,
Or at least the
absolutely.
opportunity.
Absolutely.
But they're not getting it.
Absolutely.
So with the renters, we're preparing them from home ownership because just because they don't want it now doesn't mean they're not going to want it later. Reverse mortgage, like I said, that is just something that is really dear to my heart. I really want to make sure that they know that they can get, if they're behind in their taxes and their homeowner's insurance, the same state program up to $35,000 will pay that they're behind.
Do people know that?
Not everyone, and I've been trying to get it out. every day. So we have we train people to be community information ambassadors.
Okay.
So if you live in a community and you want your property value to go up, if you want to make sure that your community stays, if you got children and you want to make sure that school stays open, you want to keep those people in that community.
Absolutely.
Because if they leave and then that property is gone or being torn down, no one's going to live there, right?
Right.
Well, after so many of those happen in a community, the school closes because there's not enough people going to school. So if you want to that's called stabilizing your community. But whose responsibility is it to stabilize the communities? It's just as much ours.
It is ours. In
many ways,
it is ours. Yeah.
Because it's our community.
Right.
So with that, we're able to, once we understand that, we're able to come together and come up with some solutions. But the first, like you asked, what was the question? Where do you start?
Right.
Right where you're at.
Okay.
And we help you discover where are you.
Okay.
And then we help you build a strategic plan that will help you get where you want to go. If you don't know your financial capacity now, how do you know what you need to do to get where you're trying to go?
Right.
If you don't even know where you are.
Right, absolutely. You are tuning in to the Doty Report on Comprehensive Health. We are going to be here every Tuesday at 7:30, now until the end of June, bringing you information, hopefully that will have some sort of impact and help you and provide you with some resources that you can connect to. Tonight we are here with Miss Mary Jones, and we're talking about housing, whether you about to buy a home, already have a home, you're a renter. She is here to provide us with some really, really valuable information to hopefully be of help and support. You can definitely go to her website. Give them your website or call you, or what's the best way for them to reach you?
Well, you can call us at 773-483-3888. But the best route is to use our website, because if you have a housing question, there's a box on our website. When you scroll down, you type in your email and your name and your phone number, and you put your question right in that box.
Okay.
It will come directly to us, and a counselor will respond with an answer and something that'll help you sleep that night to give you peace. Excuse me. And we'll respond back to you. So that's www.agoraservices.org.
Okay.
That's www.agoraservices.org.
Right. So she said that you can go to the website, ask your question, it goes to somebody, and that somebody will respond to your question and hopefully be able to give you at least a tidbit of information that will put you on the right path. So let me ask a question. When we're talking about renters, and sometimes there are people who are renting, and I've heard like real estate agents or brokers be like, oh, let me run your credit. Oh, you can qualify. You have enough income. You're paying too much. You can pay less. Should a renter jump right into that? I mean, just because the first thing you hear is, of course, you're paying too much rent. If you purchase, it's going to be lower. What advice would you give to a renter in that situation?
Anybody. Don't jump into nothing.
Okay.
So
right.
If anyone's leading you or telling you to do something, anything quick, run. Mm-hmm. Because it shouldn't be quick. Mm-hmm. It should be a slow, methodical process, which means at every point you're looking at it, you're sizing it up, and then you go to the next step. But renters, if they're paying $900 a month in income, what they need to know at that point is what is the maximum. So if they have 4 children and they're a little tight, if they can find out, which is what our financial capacity program actually does, if we start with financial capacity, they complete that first. And then we're able to tell them, this is your capacity right now. Okay. Now, if they need to get a bigger apartment, we'll be able to see how big of an apartment, how much they can pay for that extra room. Okay. And now they know, maybe they'll do some more hair. Maybe they'll do 4 heads that week to come up and save enough so that their income they'll know they have to do, let's say, four heads a week in order to bring their monthly income up
Right.
to the level that they need in order to afford that unit that they need.
Okay.
So now they know what they have to do.
Right.
And if they have everyone has talents.
Right.
Everyone can make that additional money
Right.
in order to get where they're trying to get.
Okay.
So their son that's becoming 17 and 18 can have his own room. Everyone wants that for their children. Also, here's the biggest thing. No one, when you're buying a home, when you're getting ready, renter, whomever, leaving straight from home, whatever, the key is you have to know what is the amount of housing you can afford that allows you to save.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing.
It is.
If you can't save, it's the wrong unit.
Right.
And we help you see it in black and white. You have then a budget that will be your financial guide, where if anyone asks you anything that has a financial tag to it, you say, let me get back to you. Got to confer with my budget.
Okay.
And then you confer with your budget. That's how we should be making decisions.
Okay.
And that's how we become the wise consumer.
The wise consumer. We have to become better consumers across the board. That definitely would relieve us of some of the stress, which we know stress has a great impact on our health. What about, I always hear people say, you know, I'm going to pay off my house. I'm going to try to pay my house off in X amount of years. Do you encourage people to make that effort to pay off their house, or is it more beneficial to continue with the mortgage over a period of time?
I believe in strategic plans.
Okay.
Strategic plans is, I'm halfway through paying for my home. What can I do that can increase my financial growth, my financial picture here? If I can take a certain dollar amount of the home at that time and start a business.
Okay.
So when that crisis hit, guess what happened? A lot of people did exactly that. They paid their house. They were paying a whole separate dollar amount towards their principal. And then when that crisis hit, they lost all equity because their property values dropped so low, they no longer had equity. Now that's not saying they didn't pay. They did pay. But now your property value has dove, and now you're no longer, you're underwater. You owe more on your home than your home's worth.
Right.
So you pay to pay down so you can have that equity. And as soon as that crisis hit, people lost all of their equity.
Wow.
So you can't put all your eggs in one basket. You have to have a strategy
Okay.
that says that if this does fall, because you don't know what's going to happen. Well, yes, we do. Life's going to happen. But you want to have something else going on that's going to say, if it does happen, I got a backup plan. I got something else multiplying my money that is taking the investment that I have, the equity that I have right now, and it's multiplying somewhere else that won't be touched.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we're not planning, and we have no strategy to go with those plans.
Right. We don't know the value of home ownership. Yes, we definitely need to learn. I mean, I bought a first home at 28, and I didn't know anything. I just purchased it because I could. I'm definitely not going to do that again. So tell me about the home buyer education. We see it being advertised and people asking, and they're understanding there's supposed to be some benefit to attending or completing a home buyer's kind of session.
The 8-hour certificate class.
Yes, the certificate class.
Well, that is required to get up to, it's almost up to $20,000 in down payment assistance.
Okay.
So that means you can actually get a home and get some help with buying it.
Okay.
Well, that class is not just for you to get that certificate. That class is to find out what you need to know that's in your best interest and no one else is going to tell you.
Okay.
That you're not going to find anywhere else. And that's what housing advising and that class does. It prepares you for home ownership, not just teach you how to buy.
Okay.
Because I could teach you how to buy. I could teach you how to fly.
Right. Right.
I could teach you a lot of things.
Right.
But what are you going to do with it?
Right.
Okay, when do you buy that plane do you buy a plane after I teach you how to fly? So the point is that we have to be able to understand what is it that we're trying to do and then have a strategic plan to back it up.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. We got a few minutes left. We want to share that she does have an upcoming event. It is the Senior Homeowners, the Wise Consumer Resource Event on Saturday, April 27th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at 1831 East 79, I'm reading ahead, East 79th Street. Again, that's Saturday, April 27th. You could definitely reach out to the Georgia Doty organization for that information. For those of you who have watched us before, and you've been following me on Facebook, I always post this information the next day after the show. So I'll be sure to provide that information, as well as her organization does the home buyer education classes, monthly classes, and interactive workshops. So what are some final words that you could share with the viewers, or on this topic about housing?
Well, tell a neighbor, tell a friend, tell a family member, tell an enemy, anyone that's in your community, that even if they are laid off, it is not over, because they can actually be eligible for that $35,000. Even if they're laid off, if they have lost a spouse, and they're struggling with their home mortgage payments, they can have access to this $35,000 grant. Did I say it was free? Did I say it was the services were free? And this is a grant. So we want to talk to our neighbors, because our neighbors are setting our property values. If they go into foreclosure, our properties go down.
Right.
So tell a neighbor, tell a friend.
Right.
Wave hello to your neighbors.
Right. I just want to encourage you to relieve yourself of some of the stress and reach out. There are resources available. There's information available. There are people like Ms. Jones who have a tremendous amount of expertise, experience, and information that is there. You just gotta get to her. So you can definitely, oftentimes our communities just are not aware of the resources that are available, which impacts how we live healthy, impacts, the stability of our communities. And so all of this stuff is very important, and housing is definitely key to having just a stable home, community, happy, healthy life. We have got to educate ourselves and tap into some of the resources and not be afraid. Sometimes it's just fear of, that you're not going to understand, but how you gonna understand if you don't make the effort to really understand? So we definitely appreciate you being here, and we hope that something was shared that will encourage you to, at the very least, reach out to her organization for some information. We all want to be home owners at some point. We definitely do. And we definitely want to be able to leave our homes to our children and grandchildren and have them in a position where they are able to sustain it. And be, let me get this word, the wise consumer is key. We have to be a wise consumer across the board. Again, we thank you for tuning in to the Doty Report on Comprehensive Health. We will be back here on next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Have a great rest of the week. See you later.